Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. When Jesus had finished all his words to the people, he entered Capernaum. A centurion there had a slave who was ill and about to die, and he was valuable to him. When he heard about Jesus, he sent elders of the Jews to him, asking him to come and save the life of his slave. They approached Jesus and strongly urged him to come, saying, "He deserves to have you do this favor for him, for he loves our nation and built the synagogue for us." And Jesus went with them. But when he was only a short distance from the house, the centurion sent friends to tell him, "Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am a man not worthy to have you enter under my roof. Therefore, I did not consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and let my servant be healed. For I too am a person subject to authority, with soldiers subject to me. And I say to one, go, and he goes. To another, come here, he comes. And to my slave, do this, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turning, said to the crowd following him, "I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith." When the messengers returned to the house, they found the slave in good health. The Gospel of the Lord. Beginning in the epistle of to the Corinthians by St. Paul, you have a parallel description to what we see happening in the church today. This problem in St. Paul's community is a problem with evil. And there it is. When you meet, there is division among you. A group of elite in the church community has placed people under them to enable their power, their comfort, and their self-seeking. It's enabling this self-seeking behavior that, in a sense, while they meet in word as a community of God, they meet as a community unto themselves. And so what they have done is they have created a new God, the Trinity of me, myself, and I. You see, and this is causing the division. I say evil because this is exactly what Lucifer did to have his great coup in heaven, where he split with his cohort of angels from the authority of God because they wanted things their way and not God's way. They placed themselves above the God who created them, desiring to be as powerful as God himself. And you see this pattern repeating again in the church. And you see it happening, even infecting all of society today. This elite superiority that comes through pride. And I say it infects all of humanity because if you haven't noticed, the more de-Christianized we become as a country, the more you see this elite grasping at power, even under the guise of tolerance, which really means you must tolerate me, but I won't tolerate you unless I agree with what you tolerate. Okay? And so now, a completely opposed picture comes into the scene in the Gospel of Luke, where this servant, he is a centurion in an army, the greatest army in the world at the time. This is a man who has power and is acquainted with power. This is a man who could have Jesus taken away for any reason. And what he does is he recognizes where the power really is and where it comes from. And in humility and respect for Jesus' authority, Jesus who is God, and he probably has not figured this out yet, really, but inside he feels it. And in humility, he does what all Christians should be doing, to the shame of all the disciples around Jesus, because he says he has greater faith. He does what we all should be doing. Instead of going to God with demands and elitism, he comes in humble deference and humble obedience. Could you do this for me? And by the way, I am not even worthy, which we say in prayer, I'm not worthy that you should come under my roof. Say but the word and I will be healed. That's totally opposed to a posture that I find sometimes where someone will demand that even though they're in a sinful situation, they'll demand that they should have the Eucharist. Because it's my right to have that. It's totally opposite of, Lord, I'm not worthy to have you under my roof, but say the word, and my soul shall be healed. And so this centurion recognizes God's authority, and in humility, not entitlement, he asks. And strangely enough, he receives everything he wants, because he does not grasp it under his own power, which can't attain it anyways, but he submits himself and yields to the one who can give all good gifts. And so the opening prayer, if you don't remember it from this weekend's Mass, says this in a similar way, very succinctly, and provides a great closure for us here this morning. Look upon us, O God, creator and ruler of all things, and that we may feel the working of your mercy, grant that we may serve you with all our hearts.
Regina Celi, let us